It's Tuesday morning at Emerson Global User Exchange. We've caught up with John Berra, the retiring John Berra, I should say, for a moment's discussion, and we want to ask him a few questions. John, as you look back on your career with Emerson Process Management, some 40 years, I think I heard.
Yeah, 41 years, Peter.
What are some of the things that you will look back at and see as the biggest changes during your tenure?
Well, Peter, over the course of 41 years, I think I've had a chance to see probably the most tremendous amount of change in any span one could have in a career. As you probably know, I began really in the pneumatic days back in the very late 60s and saw the transition through electronic analog to distributed control to all the field bus and wireless and HART communications, the entry of digital technology into the business. I've also seen the changes in the way an automation company needs to organize itself in order to be a success in this business. Most of us began pretty much as hardware suppliers, but today you really are doing way more than just the products. You're providing all the engineering services, project management, post-order kind of services as well, and so the whole structure of the business has changed. But from a technical point of view, I would say the biggest single thing that's happened in my time has been the change to digital technology and in everything. In the field instruments, we have digital devices sitting on control valves. Obviously, the whole control room has changed to digital technology. And what it's done for automation is it's opened up the ability to do way more than just the basic control of loops that we all used to do when I first got started. When automation began and I entered the picture, we were just all about holding the flow at a certain level or holding the temperature at a certain level, and what did you need to do in order to do that. Today, this is really more about the whole production facility, whether it's a refinery or a chemical plant or an offshore platform. The automation is an integral part of the strategy of how you run this thing, and also all the data about the operational performance of this facility comes first into the automation system and then up into the business system. And so without digital technology, automation would still be pretty much just doing a very needed but a very specific and somewhat isolated thing in our customers' plants.
So the ability to digitize all that has made the difference.
Absolutely. And in the beginning, people forget that, for example, when digital distributed control systems first arrived, there was huge skepticism about putting a microprocessor in a control room, and actually even skepticism about the ability of operators to sit at a screen and run the plant. The skepticism was so high that many of the early installations had actually complete analog backup stations just in case this radical technology didn't work. And over time, of course, it did work and deliver a lot of benefits, and little by little the analog backups went away. But digital technology really enabled a lot of the change. In addition, the microprocessors got smaller. They didn't need as much power, and so you could put them in a field instrument and get a lot of functionality out of a field instrument, whereas before it was just basic measurement or a basic device to convert new electronic to pneumatic to run a valve. So the digital technology and everything that's happened in the digital world has really changed the face of automation.
It seems that one of the frustrations that you must experience and that we experience as technology writers is the fact that there have been so many developments, and yet this is an extraordinarily conservative industry. What do you think it's going to take for customers to adopt more quickly some of these technologies that have proven technology, proven value propositions? bulletproof use cases, and yet they haven't been adopted, by these companies that in ways that could save them huge amounts of money.
That's a really good point, Peter. It is frustrating, particularly for a dyed-in-the-wool technologist like me, to see all the great things that are out there and capable of delivering value, and yet many of the end users don't take advantage of it. Okay, what's it take to make it better is in some respects the same pattern that the industry has followed. It is a conservative industry. I'm not sure any one of us can completely change that. But if you look at what happened with past innovations, there were this group of wonderful early adopters who saw the value and did all the pioneering work as an end user in their company to give it a try, show the benefits. They were actually evangelists for the technology within their companies. And there are people here in San Antonio like that, the John Riesebecks and the Bob Wodka-Woodkas of the world. If you haven't had a chance to meet either one of those folks, they are true pioneers who took technology early and demonstrated its value and convinced their company's management that there was a lot to be gained by putting this sort of technology in. Well, the world needs more of those, I would say, and they're around. My generation does not have a monopoly on people who want to jump on innovation. That's not the case. They're around. They need to be given a voice and a platform, and that kind of gets to educating, I would say, the top management of the companies that actually use automation. Now, I had a very sad discussion with a person who I won't name who runs one of the biggest refineries here in the U.S. And the discussion was about automation. And number one, I got the distinct impression that this person was kind of just giving me the time of day because I was senior management for my company. But as we got into the discussion, he revealed a bias that is so wrong that we just need to correct it. This is what he said. He said, all automation projects have zero return on investment. And I looked at him and I said, you got to be kidding, right? He says, no. One thing's as good as another. Just put it in. As long as I don't hear from it, I'm happy. And it is that attitude in management, I think, that we all have, in our industry anyway, we have to work against that. And it is an education process. Okay, so maybe this person didn't grow up in the automation world, which is fine. But every day, the people who are in the top quartile of performance among our end users are getting there through automation. There's absolutely no doubt about it, because if you think about it, all those companies are fundamentally using the same tanks and pumps and vessels and that kind of thing. What differentiates them is, number one, the automation and the training and the management philosophy and the business processes that they put around that automation. And so the issue is getting everybody in the management capacity of our customers to understand just how important it is. And actually, the truth is that the highest ROI projects are automation, because in a typical plant, it's 5 to 10% of the expenditure at the most, but that 5 to 10% is what enables the other 90% to run efficiently and effectively. And if that automation isn't any good, then that whole 90% doesn't run at all. And that's kind of the education process that we have to do.
Well, John, you sound like you're almost challenging us to do a better job with getting the information out to the industry. So thanks for spending a few minutes with us, and I hope you enjoy your retirement and have a little more time with the grandkids.
Thanks, Peter, and I do intend to spend more time with the grandkids.